All right, hey, this is the weekly transitioning update, and I am Tennille, owner of Blue Phoenix Rising Media LLC, and creator of the course, actually, uh, Academy, Phoenix is Rising, Phoenix is rising from their ashes into their purpose. And that course is still going on. The mini introductory course is still going on. Please click on the links in the videos or the bio and get started on your transformational journey now. You will have support through a Facebook group. And if you are a creator, if that's what you're starting new, I have some assets as a content creator, creating content for creators on Patreon. So there's more coming every day. So membership, go get that on Patreon. So this is what I wanted to talk about. I had somebody, I have notes this time because I do tend to trail off. So I had somebody, once they found out that I was creating courses to help people live in their purpose and to get rid of the demons and whatever has bound them and broken them and or kept them stuck, kept them on that hamster wheel looping, like I see so many people around me do. Uh, and she said, "Well, what makes you qualified? What do you know about making?" I'm thinking, "Well, life, PhD. I am a transformational coach. I have the training to do that. Besides it, but as just my personal experiences as well. I went through 3 years of being on the streets with no help. The only help would have come from toxic people who wanted to use my gifts, use my energy for their purpose, for their selfish purposes. So that's my credentials, is standing my ground, deciding to go through the process, the many dark nights of the soul, and allow myself to be in that cocoon. Walked in the cocoon as a caterpillar, and to go through that transformation as a butterfly. That's not an easy process, but it's either live in darkness or go through dark times in order to get through to the light. So that's that. Another thing I wanted, because it's there's so many benefits of to working on oneself, to dealing with, to for targeting, honing in on what has kept you afraid. What has kept you afraid from starting your own business? What has kept you afraid of moving out of a toxic environment? What has kept you afraid of flying, of driving on the freeway? These, just simple things, not really big things, doesn't have to be. But what has kept you afraid? What has kept you afraid of making honest, legit money based on your spiritual gifts, based on your spiritual talents? Whether it's accounting, whether it's speaking, whether it's baking, whether it's counseling others. What has kept you from doing that? When we go inside and we identify that, the thing, as you guys know, I have a playlist about that's called the Cluster B class, which describes the characteristics of those under the Cluster B, which is psychopathy, sociopathy, antisocial, borderline personality, and a couple others. And these are people who literally can't be helped, really, because their nature is to seek out people of high vibration and drain their energy. Darkness is attracted to light only to consume it. Because these are people who aren't going through the process of transformation. These people don't desire to level up. They literally just desire, they think they're microwave people, where they just want to feed off of somebody else's hard work. That's it. That's what they do. So I've gone through this characteristics in this playlist, put that up there for everyone, because I have dealt with narcissists all my life. And if the person is diagnosed with narcissism, I know I've said this a million times, but I'll repeat it. If a person is diagnosed with psychopathy, narcissism, borderline, antisocial personality disorders, it means that one is glaring, but they have the others too, because it's a package. It's a package deal. It's not just one. That's what confuses people, I think. Because they're like, okay, well, this person did this, so is this diagnosis? No, if they're diagnosed with one that is their major, that is their core, they're diagnosed with all the other ones come into contact, because they're all feeding off of each other. It's a group thing. It's an orchestra. So, and I've talked about this because the reason why people under the cluster B disorder get away with so much is because they're in the shadows. They're not the monsters that we see in cartoons or in, sci-fi movies or anything else like that. We're not Sigourney Weaver fighting aliens. That's not what they look like. Their whole thing is to blend in and to work from the shadows, because confusion is key. Because and they do a lot of witchcraft. I've the ones that when I was reflecting and doing my work, the ones which is another playlist that I'm gonna be putting up, because I have gifts, and I have been seeing into the spiritual realm, and for a long time, before I even knew what it was about. When we come into this life, depending on our parents' socioeconomic, race, religion, all of that, where we already have ready made for us what it is that we're going to be spiritually believe, the religion that we have, the politics that, who we are as voters and whatnot, so we don't have a choice. And then we continue to feel like we don't have a choice. I grew up in a Christian Baptist household, baptized and everything. I also grew up with a narcissistic, drug addict, sex offender father. And, so I would watch him beat me and beat my stepmother and, praise the Lord at the same time, And so, but in my heart, there was always something that wasn't quite right, because what I saw and what I naturally knew wasn't jiving all the way with what I was being indoctrinated into constantly every Sunday, So I needed something. I needed there's a song, not by Kirk Franklin, but he's on it, because I need a strong God. And that's what I needed. And so as I grew up, I I had to take that chance of being ostracized and ridiculed to get to the truth, my truth, for this lifetime. We do come back with maps. I mean, I was seeing, and I was, the ESP, knowing about people just off of their vibration. There's some people who claim that they can like touch this and get a whole bunch of feedback off of it. Different types of clairvoyance and whatnot, clairaudience, all of that. I already had that. I believe that we all have these gifts or superpowers, right? It's just being in a fruitful environment to where those grow. If we're not in an environment to where those grow because people are afraid of them. I mean, there were things that I did as a child that amazed a lot of people. Literally terrified people. One of them was being able to control, the momentum of which I fell or jumped off when I was a child, one of the big toys, in the parks or whatever, to control my speed, my descent. And it sounds weird to some people, and it was weird to the kids because they were looking like, oh my God, you know. And there was that look of fear. So we retreat back into ourselves because we don't want to be isolated for being that different. Because we know that especially in this country, being different when it's not time, when it's not sanctioned, or you haven't been picked to be the chosen one, to be different, to be allowed to be yourself, you're isolated, you're beaten down, you're psychically and physically attacked. So that all of that gets suppressed within you. And so I had to leave. I had to leave the church. I had to leave what they called, Christianity. And because there was something that I knew was higher, as I rose in vibration, I became thirsty for more. Because the things that I was seeing, one thing, I was at work yesterday and was reminded for some reason. So I'm thinking that, Mama God wanted me to talk about this because I've seen people, entities in people that have transformed. I remembered, and for some reason, like I said, all week, this scene has played in my head where there was a Jewish gentleman in his 30s. I think I was in my teens or something, and probably in my teens or tweens, and was sitting, I don't know where I was, if I was going somewhere or not, I forgot. But I looked at him. See, this is what my spiritual mom always told me: see with spiritual eyes, see into the spiritual world. Basically, because what is in front of us is not necessarily real. So I remember looking down at the guy, and he was sitting down, and he had turned his head to look back at me, but not like a full turn. He didn't turn his body with him, to get a full look at me, as a human would do. He just turned his head, and I saw him twist and turn because he was uncomfortable in his own skin. Whatever was inside of him was uncomfortable in his own skin. Now, when I started listening to David Icke, when I was getting my bachelor's degree, I started listening to him, and I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that when I ask a question, especially if it has a spiritual, it's a spiritual matter, I want to know, what does this mean? What did I just see? This would have been, 10 years or so later, that he was talking about the reptilians and everybody made fun of him or whatever. But those of us who have these gifts of seeing into the spiritual realm, and it's only heightened, it's only heightened with the corona and the planets. And, I'm not an astrologist, but I do listen to astrologers, specifically Vedic astrology, just to understand, in astronomy, what's going on, what is this? Because sometimes there'll be a time where collectively you can feel it in the air that right now, everybody's tense. For some reason it kind of dissipated now, but for the last 4 days, it's been extremely tense. And I've watched people act out, especially masculines, males. I've watched them act out and try and exert this authority that they don't have. And especially at my work, I'm a security guard. And, there's been some changes with my male coworkers, especially one that I'd been with. And I've just watched him, and I'm just like, because I'm always, I'm not going to engage in anything. And I've just watched him, and he just, the more upset he started getting, the more aggravated he started getting. And I'd been working with this guy for 3-4 months. And, we don't have conversations, but when we do have conversations, they're really good conversations. And I had started knowing that he was very distracted. He couldn't keep focused. Most of the time it was just him trying to say what he needed to say, like throw up on me, and I've long not done. I mean, even if I was getting paid in a coaching session to hear it, it wouldn't be acceptable. I'm not a garbage can. So I found myself not being triggered by him, but having to step away from him, because as an empath, I know that what's mine, higher level, you start to discern what is yours and emotions and feelings and what is somebody else's. And what's a psychic attack, you know? So I had to step away from him. So then I noticed that people had to start taking up for him, replacing him. And so one guy had come in, and he's all full of this bravado, and just he was doing weird things at the job site. We're on a construction site, and if you guys have seen some of my videos on Instagram, you've seen the construction site that I'm on, and so there's not a lot of room because they're doing construction. I mean, there are like deep holes that they're digging to put a water system and other pipes. They're laying pipes down. So he's spinning around, and I'm over at a distance just watching this, like, oh my gosh, So I've because I want to start doing videos, and when the second season of Blue Phoenix Rising, I am going to talk about that, because the second season, you guys are going to understand the process that I went through, my bottom, and the process that I went through spiritually to level up, because it doesn't matter what I do physically. All the money, they threw away everything that I had at the time, almost everything that I had. So that wasn't helping me. That wasn't keeping me safe. That's not protection. Right? Protection is solidifying your spirit. That's protection. That's just standing in your power. And I realized just recently, a few days ago, in an interaction with another toxic person, who didn't want to deal with their stuff and had been carrying something for a week with them that supposedly I had done to offend them. I got to know again what it's like just to stand in your power and not allow myself to be bullied. So that's why I'm bringing this up, because I think that there are a lot of people who don't know how to articulate what it is that they're going through, what it is that they're seeing in the spiritual realm. I'm also in a city that Santa Muerte is very popular. I don't see it as a good religion. It's something that's was made up by the Catholic Church, but I'll get into the background of that in another video. But it was something made up by the Catholic Church, as a form of proselytizing or converting them to Catholicism. So now it's called the cartel's saint or whatever. And so it's really big here, but, as for what I've experienced, having it used on me or rituals done and whatnot, there's nothing, it's only low vibration. It's a very evil, practice. Of course, if you're wanting to get away with sex trafficking and running drugs that are going to kill millions of people, then, you're not bringing light or harmony or peace or helping anybody to level up spiritually. You're helping them to die. So I don't care what anybody else says about Santa Muerte. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But fake is fake. You reap what you sow, literally. And I want to get into more of the witchcraft, because that's what in season 2 that I'm preparing to start posting. In season 2 of Blue Phoenix Rising, that's what it was for me. It was a total and complete, utter spiritual journey. And the things that I saw, like the man in the black hat, the angels, and demons warring over me, the things that normally people would say, oh gosh, you're crazy or whatever. It's like, I don't really care what you think about me. What I care about is what you get out of it, that I say something that will ring a bell and you won't feel alone. And maybe you'll say, okay, well, I need to do the work so I can get deeper into this. Whatever your whatever you call your higher power, whatever they have you on, whatever your journey is, blessings to you. So that's why I am talking about this stuff, because I saw a lot of things, and at first I thought I was going crazy, but if it wasn't for my the previous years where I would see things or hear things that and be able to have the ability to do things like touch somebody and heal them, right? Because in Christianity, the reason why too I left is because they only, and with many religions that are used to control people, they only reserve those for special people. But Yeshua said, that which I do, you will do too. So you can do too, basically. He said that. He didn't, it's 1 minute. It's what always concerned me is that 1 minute you're giving Yeshua praise and glory, and then the next minute you're taking it back as if it wasn't his. Even though it's like right there. So I was always confused, because it's like, okay, are we reading the same Bible? Because your interpretation, according to what you claim the Holy Spirit told you, is not happening. It's not happening in my life, And so my whole purpose is to get closer to source. And I remembered that when I was young, and the first thing I thought about was God. Where's God? And I don't know if that's anybody else's experience, but that has been my journey, is to get back home, like E.T. home. So, anyway, just wanted to talk about that. And, again, seeing into the spiritual realm and doing the shadow work, because doing the work that I did caused me to level up. I would literally feel a rise in my vibration, like that it's almost as if I could hear a door shut. Like, I entered, the door shut, and I got new clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like in a game, you got new armor, you got new upgraded weapons, you're good to go. I would feel that, and it was even though it was so hard and excruciating, because there was never a time that I wasn't tired and didn't want to go, I want to isolate myself and get away from this, because that's what I had been doing before. Instead of dealing with my fears, attacking my fears. Dealing with this world. It's hard living. It really is hard living in this plane. It's hard living in this realm. And being a gifted person naturally, it's hard living, because it seems like this structure is built to defeat you as soon as you come out of the womb. It's built specifically to filter out the gifted, demonize the gifted, and raise the evil. That's what we see that in politics now. I have not been so disgusted. Like, I had to take off, I'm not a worshiper of anybody. Never have been. I look up to them, or I admire them. Tyler Perry, I admire. Because he's self-made. I admire him as a filmmaker, and going in there not knowing anything and still being able to become a billionaire from humble beginnings. That impresses me. Rosario Dawson, I used to like, and Issa Rae, but I find with these politics now, it's like people are starting to show their true faces. Like, a psychosis is another characteristic of people with a cluster B personality disorder, where you're telling one thing because you're being paid to, because you're popular and you're a face, and so you get these little programmings. I would remember, especially with what is it, Insecure, watching that, and it's a good show. It's a absolutely fabulous show, creatively, the storylines. But when they put in something about, and they were trying to make it look like one of these the senators, I forget his name. He became a senator, and so they had put in some programming about black people accepting illegal immigration. That's basically what it was. And with Mexicans. So the Mexicans weren't getting this kind of benefit from the school, and it was because they had a supposedly racist principal. And so when you get into this, when you level up and you start to see that these actors and actresses are nothing but puppets. They're not real. In order to keep their position, because of who controls that industry, in order to keep their position, once you make it and you rise to that level, see, God doesn't do that. The source of all, the Most High, doesn't do that. He doesn't make you sell something or say something that you would not normally say or do, or that you don't believe, anyway, in order to keep where he's raised you or the position that you have. He doesn't do that. It's only demonic entities that do that. So I had to, I just stopped following people, because it's like, you know what? I want my own tribe, to be in my own spiritual tribe. Because basically these people, I mean, when the lights go off, they may feel something different, but you didn't have the courage to say anything, and they're all talking about this, pretending like they're purveyors of social justice they're social justice warriors or whatever. And it's like, I was thinking to myself, I said, you haven't done anything to even warrant that. And so you start seeing these people as toxic. So psychosis is, especially with the Democrats, and I'm really not politics either way. I don't, it's not two-sided. There is so much gray in between A and Z, and A and B, B and C. There's so much gray in between. It's just time to get real. This has just been a dog and pony show for years, for decades. And so when I see people posting, that, oh, there's no fraud, but then you got people with credentials that have no reason to lie, that I can tell, that are saying that there has been fraud, So you see, this is this back and forth. And what, with people with narcissism or borderline personalities, what they do, and, and they're flying monkeys, because that's the way that I see the actors and actresses now. These entertainers are just flying monkeys. In order for me, they'll pay me $400 billion to just say this little bit, because they know how much it's going to affect up here for those who are receptive to it. Those who are leveled up will know, we'll weed them out later. But right now we got to keep the story going. And so we'll pay you because you're popular and you got this many likes and subscribes, and we're going to put you in front, and we're going to pay you handsomely to do it. I mean, that's Judas and 30 pieces of silver all day. So I don't take these people seriously. But you have to be able to see it. And when just with, regular, working class people, where there's, they want so much excitement, and you see the comments on some posts, and they're like, oh, well, these people are stupid. These people, I was like, okay, but you're just piggybacking. Everybody wants a savior, and everybody wants to be a part of the popular crowd. And it's not popular to speak on what I'm speaking on. It's not popular to say, hey, I don't like Rosario Dawson anymore. When you spout that kind of gibberish and you're high all the time, I can't trust you. You're not a trustworthy person. You're trying to stay relevant. I don't care who you're dating. Many of these people are partnered up because it looks good. So the whole point is just to get into your center, do your work, take the blinders off. And one thing that I realized is that everything that we have been indoctrinated in and punished for being, we were right when we came into this world. There was nothing wrong with us. Spiritually, there was nothing wrong with us. We were right when we came into this world. And that's why a lot of us have gone through hell and back. Some of us have made it, and some of us haven't. And some of us have just become stagnant, because it's like, screw it. If you can't beat them, join them. And then you have the people like me, and I know I'm not alone, that are like, nope, I'm going to continue to dance to the beat of my own drum, even if it kills me. I don't care. So, and that's, I so really want people to start, get into this mini course and see what it's about. Learn to see yourself. Because with all this chaos going on, you'll find it's literally like being in the eye of a tornado, but no debris is hitting you. And you're actually navigating where it's going to go, because you're walking forward. And because the only thing the tornado can do is spin and cause destruction, it's going to follow you, because you need to be destroyed. you know? So, and just seeing deeper into, not seeing, but experiencing who God is, who the true God is, and that they always have your back, right? Um, yeah. So, and to say something about, so a few days ago, I had stepped outside of my, okay, I had stepped outside of my hotel room, as you can see. That's where I'm at. So I had stepped outside of my hotel room just to, air it out and just take a look around. It was quiet. I was feeling peaceful and just wanted to get some fresh air. So, black male outside. He lives upstairs on the corner. And I think it was the week before, because we have to leave every 28 days. So I was packing our stuff in. And he had come up right behind me, almost touching me. So too close. And he had been surrounding my van and kept looking at it and da-da-da-da. You've seen me rent the U-Haul before. I mean, you've seen all this. So I was like, what is going on? And that's why you have to be spiritually aware and on guard. This is the clearing out, because then you become, it's no longer, oh, that's just the way things are. It's like, no, I don't allow certain types of spirits or entities in my bubble, in my orbit. So this guy his spirit is not clicking with mine. So you'll be able to see, just to feel it. Like, okay, there's disharmony. Where's that coming from? So, and I knew it, and I was trying to avoid him. Like, really, already is in avoid mode. And so I noticed that the more that he could tell, the more I avoided him, the more stealthy he became, if that makes sense. Not him physically, but spiritually, because he had an agenda. So anyway, he had come up behind me, and I was irritated because I'm putting, he timed it to where I was putting a huge bucket of stuff, heavy bucket as well, of stuff, and trying to arrange at the same time in the back of the van. And he had come up to, you know what, I want to ask you something. And I kind of dipped back because he was like literally close to my face like that. And totally inappropriate. And I said, what? And he says, oh, never mind. I'm like, okay, whatever. And I dropped it. But Spirit said he's not leaving it alone. That's in meditation. That's what I got. He's not leaving it alone. He's going to hold on to it until he can confront you in some way. And so again, this is the when you do the work, you become clear. There's a clarity. There's something different. Right now, I don't have the words, but it's you are heightened. You are in tune because you are in sync with the source and everyone that's around you that's helping you. And people don't like that. More than you having money or material things, expensive material things or clothes, they don't like your spiritual level up. Because even when you have material things, they can still get to you. Because they're hoping that you'll feel guilt, or they can play on the color card, the race card, and pull you down and make you feel shame if you don't help out your own. My own spiritually don't need my help. That's my tribe. My own don't need me to make sure. Hold on. Hey, hold on just a minute. Anyway, so let me finish this up. But my spiritual team, my tribe, don't need me to level them up, because they're already gone through the process of doing that, and they already trust in source. So that's a huge difference. It's not about race, it's about your spiritual level up. So anyway, he caught me, And so when I had gone out to go get some fresh air and just stepped outside the door, literally was just right outside the door, had the door open a little bit. He was extremely hostile. He said, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm blessed. How are you?" He said, "Yeah, well, you were real rude and da 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 da." So this is how he's talking to me, and just real boom, just like hitting his energy is he's trying to break the shield that I have, right? He's trying to break it, and it's not working. Now, it does not mean that my adrenaline is not rushing, that my biceps aren't bulging, ready to let this guy know, like, I'm not the one. But I held firm. All that emotion, I held firm. And so he started talking about, how I was being disrespectful to him. He said that was inappropriate. I said, no, it wasn't. I said, number one, this is an unsolicited conversation. I don't need to talk to you. I don't have to talk to you at any time. Well, you were wrong. No, I wasn't wrong. And I'm done with this conversation. So it's the ability to be able to shut people off with power. And when I told him that this was an unsolicited conversation and however he felt was his business, and it has nothing, and it has literally nothing to do with me, I saw the change in his face. I saw the energy change. He still kept on, but it was almost as if I had punched him in the chest. So that's what I want for you guys. So click in the links, a link for the Phoenix's Rising class, and I will talk to you soon with more. I'm actually going to do a witchcraft playlist, and coming soon, just as a reminder, is content videos for video content creators. All right.